Get ready to learn about the hidden parts of history that have affected your own story. On today's episode of The Story Harvesters, we'll talk about how historical events can change your life story. Find out how events in the past have shaped you today, from wars and revolutions to cultural movements and new technologies. Prepare to go back in time and find the secret links between your life and the events that happened in the past. All right, folks, get your time machine ready for an epic trip through the ages right here on The Story Harvesters. Welcome to the Story Harvesters podcast. I'm your host, Barbara Ann, a guided autobiography instructor. This podcast is for anyone who wants to explore their life experiences, share their stories, and grow together. I know you have a story to tell. Join me as we celebrate the power of personal storytelling. Thank you for joining me for another episode of The Story Harvesters. Today, we're going to talk about the ways historical events shape your personal history. You see, historical events aren't just dates and facts in a textbook. They're powerful forces that shape the world we live in and the stories we tell about ourselves. From wars and revolutions to social movements and cultural shifts, historical events leave a lasting imprint on society and individuals alike. Understanding how historical events impact our lives and stories is key to gaining insight into who we are and where we come from. It helps us make sense of the world around us and provides context for the challenges and triumphs we face in our own lives. So get ready to explore the connections between history and personal narrative as we uncover how historical events shape our lives. Let's dive in and discover the stories hidden within the pages of history. Let's start by getting a clear picture of what we mean when we talk about historical events. Simply put, historical events are important happenings that have shaped the world we live in today. They can range from big events like wars, revolutions, and political movements to smaller events that still leave a mark on society. Now, why are historical events so important? Well, they play a huge role in shaping society, culture, and even individual lives. For example, think about how the civil rights movement in the United States changed laws and attitudes towards racial equality, or how World War II shaped entire countries and the lives of millions of people. But historical events don't just happen in a vacuum. They have real consequences for individuals and families too. Maybe your grandparents lived through a war, and their experiences shaped how they raised your parents. Or perhaps a major event in your country's history influenced the traditions and values that have been passed down through your family for generations. I encourage you to take a moment to reflect on historical events that have impacted your own lives and families. How have these events shaped who you are today? What lessons have you learned from them? By understanding our own personal connections to history, we can gain a deeper appreciation for the world around us and the stories that make us who we are. Now that we've explored the broader impact of historical events, let's zoom in and think about how these events have influenced our own lives and families. Have you ever stopped to consider how historical events might have shaped your family's migration, traditions, or values? Take a moment to think about your own family history. Are there stories of ancestors who immigrated to a new country seeking a better life? Or perhaps tales of resilience in the face of hardship during times of war or economic struggle? These are just a few examples of how historical events can leave a lasting mark on our families and shape who we are today. I want to encourage you to go deeper into your family history and the stories passed down through the generations. If possible, sit down with your parents, grandparents, or other family members and ask them about their experiences. What historical events have they lived through, and how have these events influenced their lives and values? By exploring our family history, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. We can discover the stories of resilience, courage, and hope that have been passed down through generations, and we can carry these stories forward as a reminder of where we come from and what we're capable of achieving. So I encourage you to embrace your family's history and let it guide you on your own journey of self-discovery and understanding. Are you ready to turn your dreams of writing into reality? Introducing Memoir Moments, my free 8-lesson online course designed to help you harvest your life stories one experience at a time. I've created easy-to-follow writing exercises, giving you a step-by-step story harvesting system and included worksheets that make the story harvesting process effortless. By the end, you'll have crafted a significant story from your life, showcasing your newfound skill. Don't let your stories go untold. Join Memoir Moments today and start preserving your memories with ease. Visit thestoryharvesters.com to enroll now. And remember, it's free. Now it's time to put pen to paper in this episode's writing exercise. This exercise will help you explore your personal connection to historical events and uncover the ways in which they have shaped your life and narrative. Okay, here's how to get started. Choose a historical event that has impacted your life or family in some way. It could be a major world event like a war or revolution, a cultural movement that resonates with your values, a scientific breakthrough that transforms society, or a more personal event like a family migration. Then, reflect on how this historical event has influenced your personal story. How has it shaped your beliefs, your values, and identity? Think about how your family's history intersects with the broader historical context and how these connections have shaped who you are today. Now start writing about your experience, exploring the emotions, challenges, and changes brought about by the historical event. You might choose to focus on a specific memory or moment that stands out to you, or you could explore the broader impact of the event on your life and worldview. As you write, don't be afraid to examine your personal connection to history. Share your thoughts and feelings and reflections openly and honestly, and allow yourself to explore the complexities of your story. Remember, there's no right or wrong way to approach this exercise. The important thing is to let your voice be heard and to embrace the journey of self-discovery that writing can offer. I'd love to hear from you. Share your comments, questions, or stories related to today's episode. Check the show notes for a link to leave me a voice message. Your feedback is valuable, so let's connect and explore story harvesting together. And before we go, a big thank you to our sponsor, me. If you enjoyed this episode and want to support the podcast, check out the link in the show notes. Your support helps me to continue bringing you great content. Thank you. In wrapping up today's episode, let's recap the main points we covered. We explored how historical events shape our personal stories, influencing our identities, beliefs, and experiences. From wars and revolutions to cultural movements and scientific breakthroughs, history leaves an indelible mark on who we are. We've discussed how historical events are not just distant occurrences, but powerful forces that profoundly influence our lives. From shaping our family histories to shaping our individual identities, historical events play a crucial role in shaping who we are and how we see the world around us. Always keep in mind that writing can help us see the links between the past and the present and figure out who we are in the world. Don't be afraid to dive into your own stories and look into the complex fabric of your own life. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of The Story Harvesters. I hope that our look at historical events and personal stories was interesting and made you think. Don't miss the next episode where we'll continue our journey of telling stories to find out more about ourselves. Until then, happy writing, and remember, the stories we tell shape the world around us. Take care, and I'll see you next time.